Carbohydrates. It's a big word. For some reason, most people aren't really scared of the word carbohydrates, right? You just carbohydrates. Yeah, you've heard that before, right? Where have you heard that before? Food, carbs. When you look at the word carbo, there's carbon in it. Hydrates, water, carbon and water. Something like that, right? Wonder what's in hydrocarbons. Wonder if they're similar. But we're talking carbohydrates here. So let's talk carbohydrates. Here we have two carbohydrates. What I want you to notice is two things. One, it's a long chain of carbons, long chain of C's, with a bunch of hydrogens around it. There's an oxygen over there, two, but a bunch of hydrogens around it, a couple of oxygens. The other thing I want you to notice is that these two are, they look like they're sort of the same, right? Same molecules, different arrangement. Same atoms, same elements, different arrangement. So let's keep that in mind for just a second. Glucose and fructose. This is another way of writing them. It's the same thing. They can come either in a straight form or in a ring form. And when you see them written in the book, sometimes they're written like this, like on the right hand side, where you just see this hexagon. When you see this hexagon, it's implied that there's a carbon in that corner and that there's a hydrogen at the appropriate places or wherever they need to be. So those things are implied, that they're there. Remember talking about dehydration reaction? Dehydration, the removal of water, puts two glucoses together to a maltose. So the dehydration reaction takes two monomers and turns it into a polymer, or a dimer. At this point, a polymer would be many, but this would be a dimer. And then if you make more and more, put more and more and more of those together, you're going to end up with a polymer, starch, glycogen, or cellulose. So we have three different polymers that are important in biology. Starch is the storage molecule for plants. Glycogen is the storage molecule for us. We store it in our muscles and in our liver. And cellulose is different. Even though it's made from glucose molecules, we can't access the energy in those glucose molecules because of the way those molecules are tied together. They're bound together in a way, so the glucose monomers, this here, the way the glucose monomers are put together, we have the enzymes to take this thing apart and extract the energy from it. We do not have the enzymes to extract the energy from this thing. Um, Glycogen is the same thing. It's got a different name, but it's the same kind of bond as with the starch. The difference with glycogen is that it's got branches more so than starch does. But cellulose we can't work with. Now, where do we find cellulose? Cellulose is what we in our diet call fiber. Um, but what a waste of perfectly good energy, right? What, I mean, what a waste of perfectly good glucose. I guess it does allow plants to stand up straight, so there's that. But still, somebody should be eating cellulose. Does somebody eat cellulose? Where do we find that? Plant cell walls. Does anybody eat plant cell walls and get nutrition out of that? Anybody eat grass? Yeah, right? There are some animals that do that. So there are some animals that extract nutrition out of cellulose. They have enzymes that we don't have that are able to extract nutrition out of that kind of bond. So, so this is why it's important to know what kind of enzymes the different organisms have. And different organisms have the abilities to use different foods for that reason. And next would be lipids. But that was it